Good morning, everyone. How's your weekend? I will be your teacher in this subject, Contemporary Philippine Arts from the Regions. My name is Mrs. Ana Marie de la Cruz Malyari from ANDA here in Pangasinan. As what I said before in our subject EAPP, maybe some of you are my students there, that we have to double time. But because I didn't create a video before because I had some troubles in recording a video. Some applications requires payment, and some I can't upload the video I made, and some are I just can create a video for a minute, just a trial. So I had some difficulties in finding the applications used, but I went to the computer shop and install an application, and this is what we're using right now, Cyberlink UCAM. I want to discuss the lesson from the week 1 and 2 because as what I said, I didn't upload, or I didn't send you the video I made because of those problems, and also in addition we have to double time. I already told you before in our subject AAPP, or English for Academic and Professional Purposes, that within a week we have to discuss 2 topics. But because I didn't create a video, or I didn't discuss further about our lesson in the past week 1 and 2, I have to explain it to you. Okay, let us start. Integrative art as applied to contemporary art. My expectation: after going through this module, you are expected to describe various contemporary art forms and their practices from the various regions. Second one, discuss various art forms found in the Philippines. What do we mean by art? There are many definitions of the word art. Number 1, art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty and emotional power. So it is an expression of our skill in creative ways. Integrative arts, what is the difference between the two? Integrative arts practice refers to interdisciplinary art research, development, production, presentation, or artistic creation of work that fully uses 2 or more art disciplines to create a work for a specific audience. We will discuss further about it because when we say integrative arts, you are not just using a skill. It should be 2 or more disciplines or skills. Like in theater workshop, we're not just singing, but we can also apply movements like dancing and theater workshop or theater. Here, to understand better the meaning of art, the book entitled The Arts, An Introduction to the Humanities by Servo, 2010, provided the following definitions. First, art as a skill or master. It is right because the definition before, it is a skill or mastery. We have to apply our skill in making an art. Second, art as a process or a product of a creative skill or a process because it involves arranging aesthetic elements in an artistically interesting and appealing manner, right? It is a product. Why product? Because it includes human creations, different activities and manners of expression, which include sculpture, painting, music, literature, architecture, dance, and theater. Next definition, art as a universal language. We human beings have a language, right, in order to communicate. In the language of art, it is diverse. It is different from one another. Each art form has its own artistic elements. Like in literature, what are we using? As a language of literature, we are using colorful words, imagery, figurative language, and other literary devices. Another one is music. What are we using in music? Melody, dynamics, harmony, and other elements. In dance, we make use of graceful movements and choreography. What else? In theater, so what I said before, or a while ago, almost all the elements and other form of arts. In painting, sculpture, architecture, they share visual elements of color, shape, line, forms, texture, and space also. So art expresses feelings and ideas shared by all individuals regardless of culture. It could be understood by everyone through the use of that language. Next, art as a representation of reality. According to Aristotle, art is a reflection or a mirror of reality. The traditional idea of art as imitation of life had been widely accepted throughout the ages. Thus, fidelity of art to the existing physical reality had been the aim of creating. However, the notion of reality evolved. Adhering to the idea of Plato that the essence of a thing is more real than the thing itself. Like, say for example, a painting of a shoe. It is not just a shoe, but there is a deeper meaning or the real meaning behind that shoe. So that is art as a representation of reality. Next, art reflects the characteristics of a period. There are 3 periods here: medieval, Renaissance, and modern period. First, medieval period. If I haven't mistaken, it is from 7th to 14th century, and the Renaissance period from 15th to 17th century, and the modern period from 18th up to now, the modern way of living. This is now. So during the medieval period, the dominance of the church initiated the expression of spiritual truths depicted in all the artworks of the time. For instance, in the visual arts, the figures were presented in idealized flat forms to signify a lack of focus on the material world. There is a lack of materials in that period. During the Renaissance period, the value ascribed to the material world was shown in the more defined and realistic rendition of the human body in the visual arts. The focus of the material world here is shown in 3-dimensional reality of landscapes and paintings. And lastly, in the modern period, it characterizes the idealistic search for truth and realization that it is not attainable. Relativity is accepted as an unavoidable truth. This is manifested by the varied experimentations of artistic expressions. Last, art shows the manner of existence of people long ago. Here, do you think, how do we know that there are people during the Stone Age? How they live? It is because of art. Why can I say that? People during the Stone Age lives in caves, and they created different art forms like carving and sketching or drawing under the cave. So because of that, we knew that there are people in the time or during the Stone Age. We have composition of arts. And composition of arts, in order to appreciate it, we need to study and understand the basic concepts about art so as to know more about its essence. So first, we have subject matter. When we say subject matter, it is the subject or the topic. It can be a person, animal, thing, or issues that are described or depicted in an artwork. We have representational and non-representational art. First, representational. From the word itself, I want to show myself here. Hi. Representational art. When we say representational art, we can easily see identifiable figures or objects. These are the things that we can see, we can touch, like interesting person or animals. It could be our subject matter or the topic in our art form. Human form or the body. There are lots of painters using that. Human activities, what we're doing every day. It could be also subject matter under representational art. Commemorable events, different events. Common objects. That's what I said a while ago. A shoe, we can use that. Common objects. Nature, we can create or draw what we can see in our nature. Deity, the gods and goddesses, the mythology. Non-representational art or non-objective art does not depict recognizable objects. Unlike representational, we can literally see, or we can easily identify the figure or objects. Here in non-representational art, art's power to communicate rests on the language of art itself, the meaning itself. It could be an issue or a story behind what you're doing or what art you did. Next, form. When we say form, it is the specific quality of an artwork itself, which includes all the visual aspects of the work that can be isolated and described. It is the surface feature of an artwork. And as what the saying goes, what you see is what you get. And that's all. Next, content. It is the artwork is all about. It contains the message of the artist which he or she is trying to express or communicate. And that is content. Content, when we say content, sincerity, it's truth, the quality, or the idea that the artist is trying to communicate. Next is medium. In the instrument of the artist in translating his feelings and thoughts into form, we are using the medium or the instrument in order to communicate or translate the feelings. It could be a substance the artwork is made from. Like in music, we are using a song as a medium in order to communicate. Can you see the difference between the medium and content? The content is the message, and the medium is the instrument in translating the feelings. Like in the song, Pusong Bato, the medium the artist used there is the song, and the content is the meaning of the song Pusong Bato. Technique. This is how well an artist knows and uses his medium in achieving what he wants in his creation. The way, and that is the technique. Elements of arts. Okay, these are already common to us. To understand a particular work of art, you must have the knowledge of the elements of arts for you to be able to examine and appreciate it more. Being aware of the elements educates your senses and enriches your lives. So first line. It is the most fundamental of all elements. It is an identifiable path traced by moving point. There are meaning in using lines, like in horizontal, it suggests feeling rest. Infinity and perfect stability. Next, vertical, it gives impression of height in a straight line. Vertical, it gives an impression of height, as what I said, and dominance or power as they are pointing or extending towards the sky. Diagonal, convey a feeling of action, movement, unrest, uncertainty. A line can also be curved that creates a sense of smoothness, softness, and continuity. Shape and form. Shape is two-dimensional figure, but in form, that is already three dimensions. There are three dimensions. In 2 dimension, length and width, we have those. And in 3 dimensions, there are length, width, and height. So that's the shape and form. Value or tone. It refers to relative lightness or darkness and anything that is visible. Colors. We already know this. But maybe some didn't know that when we say color, it is the product of light of different wavelength reflected off the objects. So we can see colors because of light, because of the wavelength or light reflected off the objects. Next is space. It is an element of art that refers to distance between, it could be between, around, above, below, and within things. The space occupied by the shape, which is called positive space, and the space around is called negative space. Space around, negative space, and a space occupied by the shape is positive space. Lastly, texture. Texture refers to the surface quality, the way things feel or look as though they might feel if touch. Okay, so that is texture. Next is principles of design. In principles of design, we have 5. First is balance. What is balance? It is concerned with arranging elements so no part of a work empowers or overpowers or seems heavier than any other part. So observe the picture given here, the number 1 and number 2. Number 1, see the difference between number 1 and number 2. Okay, we're going to identify what kind of balance are they. First is formal balance or symmetrical balance. It refers to two sides that are identical to each other and has equal visual weight. Here, we have a perfect balance or symmetrical balance here because the two sides are identical to each other, and also they has equal visual weight. So let's see the difference from the page before it. So here, do you think where is the symmetrical or formal balance here? Is this the first one or the second one? Of course, if they are identical to each other and they have the same weight, this one will be the symmetrical or formal balance. Next, informal balance or asymmetrical balance. It refers to two sides, the two sides here, 1 and 2. The two sides are not identical to each other, but equal in weight. They are the same visual aid, but not identical. So here, the number 2 or this one is the asymmetrical balance or informal balance. Next, proportion. Proportion, number 2. It is concerned with the relationship of one part to another and of the part to the whole. It is a belief that a well-proportioned shape is pleasing to the eye. Proportion, the relation or connection of every part to the whole art. Rhythm, similar to rhythm or in visual or musical rhythm, visual rhythm characterized by the repetition or alternation of elements in an artwork to create a sense of movement, unite composition, and establish a pattern or texture. So there are different rhythms like regular rhythm, flowing rhythm, progressive rhythm, and alternating rhythm. Here, regular rhythm occurs when the intervals between the elements and the elements themselves are similar in size or length. Regular, the same. Flowing rhythm signifies directional movement. It has flow, just a good flow. Next, progressive rhythm shows a developing sequence of forms. It has a progress or a development. Alternating rhythm, it could be applied in all kinds of rhythm. It displays alternation of elements and may be applied, that's what I said, to all kinds of rhythm. Next, emphasis and subordination. There are differences between the two. Emphasis is the principle that makes a creation stand out by giving more attention to certain parts. That is emphasis. And in subordination, it is giving less importance and to purposely make other areas of the composition less visually interesting. Next, unity and variety. When we say unity, like in human beings, we have unity. When we say we have unity, we are helping each other, right? It is also called harmony. Refers to the coherence of the elements of a work to the whole. There is a unity in order to achieve the meaning or to attain the message of an artwork. Variety. I have to remove my face. Variety refers to the diversity of a work of art to prevent monotony or uniformity. So it couldn't be boring. Avoid monotony. Next, here let us identify what is traditional art and contemporary art. Traditional art is art that is part of a culture of a certain group of people with the skills and knowledge passed down through generations from masters to apprentices. Look at the picture. What do you observe? That is what we call bulul, or bulul of Ifugao. That is an example of traditional arts. People believe in, especially Ifugaos, that this bulul is the guard, is their guard in their rice crop. So that is the best example of traditional art. And another examples are the woven basketry of Mangyans, the tinalak tapestry the tinalak tapestry woven by the Tipolis in South Cotabato, the Pisiyabit heat cloth, or the heat cloth called Pisiyabit of Mindanao, and the embroidered juicy and piña cloth of Lumban, Laguna. And next is contemporary art. What do we mean by it? Contemporary art refers to the art about today, created today, and produced in the second half of the 20th century or in the 21st century. So it is now. Contemporary artists work in a globally influenced, culturally diverse, and technologically advancing world. Their art is a dynamic combination of materials, methods, concepts, and subjects that continue the challenging of boundaries that was already well underway in the 20th century. So that is contemporary art or integrative art, combination of diverse methods, materials, concepts, etc. According to Perez, 2016, the arts are classified in distinct forms: music, dance, theater, visual arts, literature, film and broadcast arts, and architecture, design, and allied arts. However, the art in the regions have evolved and taken a new form. The arts have combined to create integrative art. There is now an interconnection among arts, resulting in the combination of arts like choreography. This is the combination of movements, and of course we can also apply different methods or strategies using choreography. Musical instrument, there are lots of musical instruments like guitar, piano, etc. Literary and musical composition, the songs, there are also kinds of songs. Visual design, theatrical performance, and cinema. So that is the topic in week 1 and 2. I'm going to show or present now, and this is our topic in week 3. Okay, the Philippine art. Then I have to remove my face here. Philippine art. Expectation: after going through this module, you are expected to research on various contemporary art forms, explains Filipino artist roles, and identifies their contribution to contemporary art. Evaluates contemporary art forms based on the elements and principles. In our class work, we have our activity there, explore, that you have to search a Filipino artist and identify his or her contribution to contemporary arts. That is 5 points. So don't forget to attach your work, because in the subject EAPP, if I haven't mistaken, only one attached the work. Almost all the students finished the given task, but the problem is they didn't attach the work. So make sure that you have attached it, so you will have the points. Here we have 2 pictures. What do you observe? The first picture made by Fernando Amorsolo, the Palay Mayren, and the second one, this is really popular, by Leonardo da Vinci, the Gioconda. see the differences between them? I'll guide you using the following questions. Now, what do you observe? What do these paintings share in common? Are the paintings treated differently? What makes Amarsola's Palay Mayran truly Filipino? Okay, first question. What do these paintings share in common? First, the subject. The subjects of the two paintings are both women. So that is one of the similarities. What else? It shows tradition and cultures in different ways, because in Palay Maydan, it uses the culture in the Philippines using palay. And the second picture, La Gioconda, the nature and the culture of Italian, or in Italy. Next, are the paintings treated differently? Yeah, so what I said, they are different in way of communicating their culture, because we have different cultures, of course. Next, what makes Amarsola's Palay Mayran truly Filipino? What can you say so? Because of palay. It's the most commodity of Filipinos, right? So, in your activity explore, the first activity, you have to search a Filipino artist and identify his or her contribution to contemporary arts. You can also add the meaning of the painting, and of course that could also be the contribution to the contemporary arts. The Philippines is undeniable rich in culture and the arts. However, many professional art critics still question the authenticity of the Filipino-ness of the artwork produced by the Filipino. Why? You know what, you have in your subject Philippine history, maybe you already have learned that the Philippines has been colonized and impacted by Spanish and American cultures for over 400 years, which caused many Filipinos or even the people around the globe doubt our country's historical identity, right? But if there is one good effect of all the colonization that the Philippines have experienced in the past, it is that our Filipino artists have become more conscious of their indigenous roots, and trying to find ways to get away from the shadows of many cultural influences. The most common themes in the Philippine contemporary art scene are responses to social, economic, and political issues, ethnic and indigenous concerns, and current events. Philippine folklore, mythology, using goddesses, and philosophical thoughts are also considered as subject matter. Philippine, or in addition, the subjects like landscape, still life, genre scenes, portraits, and Philippine fiestas and landmarks are mostly used in the visual art, as well as those concerning superstitions and the other supernatural. We can say that all these subjects have helped develop our sense of national identity. What you're going to do as your assignment, what is Philippine about Philippine art. That piece, I already attached it in our classwork. That is a piece of Leo Benessa. You have to read the given piece and answer your assignment experience, like what is in our learning module. Okay, these are my references. You're going to pass it as soon as possible so I can check your works. So that's all for now. I hope you do understand our lesson and have a great day, and God bless us all. Goodbye, class.